So, ich bin Joe Conrad für den offenen Kanal und neben mir sitzt Omnec Onec und sie behauptet, sie ist von der Venus und nun machen wir ein Interview in Englisch und wollen mal sehen, inwieweit das glaubhaft ist. First question, Omnec. Omnec Onec is your name. Is
Yeah,
that
Omnec
Venus?
is, well, Omnec is actually fine, but Omnec Onec is the whole
Omnec.
name.
First of all, our audience probably can't imagine that on Venus are living people because our scientists say there is no life, or do they not tell us the truth, or can't you see life on Venus? Is it on a different plane or something?
Well, at one time, the life on Venus was a physical society, very much like you know here. But this was at least 20 million years ago.
That's some time.
Yeah, and now the cultures and societies exist in a parallel dimension to the physical.
Yes.
And actually, they are the ancestors of the ancient civilizations on Earth. Some of the civilizations, not all of all of the races on Earth came from other planets originally, but this was before your recorded history.
Venus was there first, or the Venusians were there first, or
Well, actually,
were they part of other?
yeah, actually,
Was it
all of
just-
the human beings in the solar system came from other galaxies before the Earth was actually a planet. When it was still a comet in formation of a planet, and they were sent to this galaxy to be the protectors of this galaxy and being the higher life forms. Human beings are the higher life forms. And they colonized 4 planets, the older planets in your system: Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. This is the 4 major races that you know of on Earth, the 4 different races. And eventually they colonized the planet Earth itself. Since this time, the original peoples, not the ones who came to the Earth, but the original people from the other planets, their societies now exist in a parallel dimension to the physical. And with our technology and our spiritual abilities, we have, we can manifest the physical body
So that's what
to
you
work
do.
and live in the physical
Environment,
universe.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the other planet, Saturn, Mars, is there still life, or
No, not physical.
not physical, but on a higher
Yeah. but they-
vibration?
right, but you
right.
can still find the remains of their societies.
On Mars, there's
Yeah.
a pyramid and,
Yeah,
and
they've
the
already
face.
found. They found
Yes,
some.
that's part of it. But on Mars, there is still life on the trial level,
On the
like
higher-
yourself, like on
Yeah,
Venus.
of course.
Okay. Now, how did you come here to Earth? Was a like UFO or a flying saucer, or how did you get here?
Well, on each of the planets, the older planets, there is still one city that is on the physical dimension as well as the other dimensions. It's kind of a hidden city.
On Earth too?
Oh,
On the others?
well, on Earth also you have these hidden temples, these ancient temples that are hidden on
Temples,
different locations, and they also serve as what you would call interdimensional doorways,
I see.
but they were hidden a long time ago. And on the other planets we have the same thing, and this allows us to manifest in the physical. Of course, we can manifest our certain craft that we use in the physical for travel. We have intergalactic, interdimensional, and time travel with our spacecraft.
Yes.
And that's how I came. After I manifested my physical body
Yes.
in this city on Venus, I was taken by a physical ship that we manifested there and brought to Tibet, and I lived in a monastery for the first year. That was to adjust to the gravity, learn the language, and of course to adjust to my physical body.
That's probably tough to get from that light white spheres
Yeah.
to this very.
It is very difficult to adjust to a physical body.
At what age did you come here? Did you was it an incarnation, or did you really come here with a physical body from
No.
Venus?
No, it's just
At what age was that?
According to your time and understanding, I would be a 7-year-old child.
When you came here first?
But according to our time existence, and according to your time also, I would have existed there 130 years of your time, even though I look like a 7-year-old child, because our lifespan is very long, and our aging process is very, very slow.
Right.
And so now I'm like considered to be close to 250 of your
You're looking good
time.
for that age.
Yeah. But on Earth, I would be more equal to a 50-year-old person.
Okay. Was it a job or a task to come here, or did you do it voluntarily, or why did you come here?
It was a combination of both. It was a request by spiritual hierarchy.
On Venus, or is it somewhere
spiritual
else?
hierarchy that rules actually the whole physical universe. But
It's everywhere on higher realms, not on Venus, not on the planets.
But they have a lot to do with the destiny of the people on Earth and in the physical realms themselves. They're advanced souls, masters, spiritual beings that were once physical, and now they exist on higher realms.
Ascended masters, is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Like Jesus?
Yeah, Jesus is one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was to return the people in your societies, to return to them their lost history of their existence, and what you have not recorded in your history that's been lost here on Earth, to return a lot of the lost history and the origins of human beings to the human beings here. This information was supposed to be returned to them because the Earth is going into what they call a new age, a different awareness and consciousness, and this information has to be brought back in order to change the perceptions and concepts of people on Earth. And it was the same teachings Christ had, no different.
Right. Are you the only one who's coming from Venus, or are there different?
Oh no, there's many.
There are a lot of people, but you're the only one who's really kind of famous. And
Well, I'm the one that was chosen to actually present it to the public, to go public, you know.
Yes. So are others working on the...
They're working in different levels, yeah.
Okay, I see. Do you have special abilities like reading thoughts or reading my aura or something?
Well, there's a certain spiritual law that protects your private thoughts. So this is not possible. But
you wouldn't do it, or you can't do it?
Can't. It's a special protection. But if you are able to send with your thoughts, then we're able to perceive. But most people on Earth cannot do this because...
Are there people on Earth you can communicate with telepathically?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse my English.
Yeah,
you
telepathically I can communicate with certain people that have the abilities.
Yes.
And this is also how I communicate with my people who are not here on the Earth, you know.
On Venus.
Yeah, for information that I need. It's not channeling because it's a direct contact with beings that I know. But see, the Earth people at one time, their ancient civilizations here had abilities to communicate this way and to remember their former existences and their history. But there was a genetic manipulation done on the human races after Atlantis. There was an invasion from another star system.
Ago or something?
And actually it was before Christ. And the genetic manipulation divided the brain of the human beings into two separate halves. And it disabled them from this communication without words. It took away their ability to have remembrance of their previous existence before they were here in this physical world. And it only allowed them to use the half of the brain that functions here in this world, in this physical world. And it was created by these these people that invaded the Earth, who set up the hierarchies and the divisions of the races here and created the conflicts out of religions and set themselves up as a hierarchy of ruling, monopolizing, controlling, manipulating. And it enabled them to control the humans here more because the human beings then lost their abilities. And any kind of secret knowledge or information that they extracted from them before the manipulation was then put into the secret brotherhoods that they have established here for the elite, for the special to study. And the rest of it is a controlled kind of information, religious teachings, knowledge. And then, of course, they divided all the races, created languages, religions. And out of all of
separated everything from the source.
And they created conflicts out of all the differences. And
who were they?
Well, I'm not allowed to say which star system they came from, because now they're in the process of trying to remedy and correct what they did in the past.
They see what they have done and they want to
correct it.
help it.
And this is what the transformation of the Earth
Are
is.
they on Earth too, visiting Earth and contacting people?
Well, many of them have been reborn.
That's like in the process of reincarnation,
right.
or incarnated on Earth.
Right.
and helping us now from
Right. In other words,
humans.
we're correcting, yeah. And a lot of people are actually born here in these societies, but they know that they don't belong here. They have this divine feeling within themselves. They can't explain it with their logic, but it's a feeling they have. And yeah, the Earth is going to be actually transformed to its original existence, where that there will not be these conflicts and there will be a union. And it has to start with changing the perception and concepts of people. And that's what I do in the workshops. I spend 2 days with individuals, teaching them to overcome the structured and controlled ideas that are presented to you. Like when you're born, your religion, your political views, everything is given to you.
Yes.
It's not your free will and your choice. In other words, your family kind of instills this information into you and even kind of forces it on you. And then because they think that this is correct and this is good. And so it's handed down from generation to generation, and it leaves little room for the individual to develop their own choices and freedoms. And so what I'm trying to do is help the people to overcome this and to go back to their own original source of seeking out what is your own emotions, what is your own choices, how do you really feel, and to overcome this programming that comes from outside. And it's a big process, but the people have to go through it themselves individually, because I don't have any magic solutions.
You don't make bang and then they are...
No, I just provide them with a different perception of reality, different concepts and understandings of themselves, and then I give them the keys to overcome this. And this is what's in my books primarily. They don't really have to even come to the workshops. They can just get the books and get the information.
But basically we have the given right to choose, the freedom to make decisions.
Right, and this is one thing I do not believe in interfering with, is the individual free will and choice of a human being to choose their own religious path, to do whatever they wish. But I think that still they need the basic information and knowledge of what happened to human beings and how human beings were a long time ago, and you need to know the history of human beings. If you give them the whole overall picture, which I do in my lectures and workshops, it gives them the ability to have a different perception of this world, the universe, and themselves, not just as physical human beings, but as the essence, the life force of each individual.
So what you say, it's not our fault that we are not spiritually more advanced because there was a manipulation?
But it's also the construction of the whole societies you live in.
Yeah, so it's part manipulation and part choice of...
Well, the manipulation and control has been built into your structures and your societies here.
It's hard to get rid of it,
Absolutely.
but it's happening.
Yeah,
You're
and we're eliminating it little by individually meeting with people and giving them the chance to change their perception and abilities. Of course, they have to make their choice. They don't have to. But once they have the choice and they have the information, then the change starts to take place within themselves anyway.
The information they don't get on the mass media,
Absolutely,
TV.
yeah.
That's
well, even if they were to have this information, they wouldn't change the schools. It'd be too expensive,
Yeah, right. They don't seem to want to, but do you...
Well, of course they don't want to. I mean, if they monopolize the energy industries and they're controlling the monies here, any kind of a change would put an end to a lot of their systems, and this is what they're trying to prevent.
Power, greed, and money.
Well, material things, but they'll be here when you're not here.
Are you optimistic for humankind? Are we developing? Is the consciousness changing? Or?
Absolutely. When you just present to the people the concept and idea of simple basic steps, like if you take away judgment and criticism and replace it with acceptance, you have a total different way of living, because you're allowing the other person the free will to make their own choices that's best for their lives and taking the responsibility for it, and not interfering and not focusing on this person so much. You're focusing on your own self. You're eliminating a lot of conflicts, because you don't create conflicts if you just say, well, you have your perception, you have your reality, you have your own choices to make, and let them do and have their free will. The biggest problems and the conflicts are created out of someone trying to force their own ideas and beliefs, and it's control and manipulation once again.
All right. Since you came here first, do you see a change, a progress in the consciousness?
Oh, certainly.
Yes, you do.
And when my book was written in the 60s, there was no understanding or concept of different dimensions. There was no way at this point in time to reach the people. With the development of your technology, with your satellite systems and your computers and the communication systems, has come a greater awareness, because of course there's more information available to each individual, and this changes right there the perception and the ability for understanding a great deal more.
So that it has two sides. Information can manipulate, but it can also broaden the horizon and
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you have to be able to have the perception to see what the difference is, you know. You can see the benefits and you can also see the difficulties.
Do Venusians have a concept of God, of a creator?
Yeah, we only believe that there's one source of energy, we call it, and this source of energy is exactly why everything exists, because it procreated from itself. This source of energy procreated from itself every living thing to exist in continuing cycles of never-ending cycles. And this ensures that this energy will continue.
Are we part of it, or
yeah, the Creator
is
lives,
it up there somewhere?
No, the Creator lives through everything that is alive.
So that sounds a little different than that we read in the Bible. The perception of a God.
If you have a centrifuge and you throw into it rock, sand, and water, and it's spinning at a high rate, the heavy material falls to the outer edge. This would be the physical, the heavy material. And then more towards you go toward the center, the less material you have, till the center is just pure energy. This is where the center of creation is. And all of the other worlds are the other dimensions that come down to the physical. This is where the human beings gather their information and experience, and you have to have a physical vehicle. But the soul, the source of pure energy, the little piece of this Creator, has also the ability to have a body that is the same energy as all these other dimensions, and that's where it exists when it's not in the physical.
So we are not just a physical body, but we have parts of our beings in the higher, closer to the center.
Right. Your physical body is just a vehicle, something that you live in and communicate with and are able to experience in this world, but the real essence of you is a soul. And when this physical body no longer is functionable, the soul still exists, but not in the physical. It exists in the other dimensions. And if it decides to come back to the physical, then, of course, it makes the decision according to experience that it needs. And this is what I teach in the workshops. I teach the whole concept of creation and your relation to it, and how that you're also a never-ending source.
And love is a key.
Yeah.
For everything.
Well, yes, because real love is the energy that flows from the Creator through all living things, and without it there would be nothing. That's unconditional love. That's not the conditioned love you have here in your societies. Unconditioned love means I love you because you are, with no other reason.
Not I love you if you love me.
Yeah, or if you do what I want.
Right. So we have some concepts here on Earth that are different than on Venus. Do you have sex on Venus, or is it just a physical
Well,
thing?
when we were physical, we did. We have the same sensation, because even though we don't have a physical body, we have forms, and we do have attractions, and we can share the same energy. In other words, you can exchange the energy, and it's the same feeling, probably more intense than having sex here. In other words, it's still the same energy, but you're expressing it through a physical body, and there we don't have a physical body, but we can still feel this exchange.
I believe that sexuality is a big problem by people who are searching for spiritual progress.
I think sexuality is a natural function of the physical body, which is very healthy and beneficial. I think it's been misused and abused a lot in society and misunderstood. And there's a lot of moral difficulties attached to it. There's a lot of problems created out of repression and lack of understanding of what it's about. You shouldn't build a relationship on sexuality. The relationship should be a real connection on emotional levels and psychic levels and spiritual levels and understanding. And the sexuality should be a part of something very special that's added to this relationship. But if you build a relationship on this, and of course it's not going to be very stable.
Right. There seems to be a development on Earth that with our mass mediums, that there's a lot talk about kinds of sex that has all two sides to it.
Right.
On the one hand, it concentrates just on the physical, not on the love. On the other hand, it makes us more tolerant to understand other people's sexuality. Do you see that?
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of sexual therapy available. There's all kinds of beneficial, information that is being applied. But there's so many centuries that you have of repression, and where the repression has created such diverse, I would say, abuses in this area. And it's only because of repression and lack of expression that you've created these criminal tendencies through sexual abuse and even overindulgence. Because in your society, they don't understand that the key to a real harmonic existence is balance and harmony. If you become fanatical, even in an extreme way of becoming a health food fanatic, or not drinking or not having sex, you're still repressing natural tendencies to do things because you're trying to create this perfection that you're not going to find in this world. And in this world, you have to realize, being a physical human being, you have to allow yourself to participate in what you would consider negative or positive kind of situations, but with a balance and a understanding of your limitations. And overindulgence is the real danger of anything. And becoming a fanatic is the other side, which is also not balanced. So you have to find your own individual balance. And that's something that I couldn't tell each individual what it is. That's something they have to figure for themselves. But I think that it's the judgment and criticism comes in again. If you're a perfect vegetarian and you don't smoke and you don't drink and you don't do this, and then you're looking at the other person and thinking they're wrong because they do these things, that's still criticism, it's still judgment. You're fanatical, and therefore you're not balanced, and it's not letting the other person be. And that's what I mean by acceptance.
So you don't have to judge about other people. You have to accept them like they are.
Animals are living, plants are living, they're all living essences. They serve a certain purpose, and it's your decision to choose to eat or to do whatever you do with your life, and nobody has a right to say anything but you.
Right.
Okay,
another topic, technology on Venus. Do you have technology like we have in science fiction movies, like little computers and communicators and beaming? Can you?
We have all of these abilities. We have our great, huge spaceships, which are like cities. We have the smaller craft. They can disappear within minutes because they have the ability to go into the other dimensions. They change their frequency, their vibration, and their energy. What you would consider far out kind of science fiction technology, we do have. And but to us, it's kind of natural, and it only comes with a great awareness because it's a technology that works within the same means as all creation. It works with natural means and energy, with not artificial fuels. It doesn't deplete the system because it works in harmony with the universe. It's a kind of resonating magnetic energy that we have harnessed. And a lot of it has to do with the advancement of our thinking process.
Could we have this technology if we were spiritually more advanced? Or
well, when you start to understand the energy that flows through your body from the other dimensions, it flows 24 hours a day. Most people doesn't know it, and so therefore it's wasted. And wherever you put your attention, you're sending your energy. And if you're focusing your energy on a negative aspect of life, or fears, if you're putting out fears about wars, you're actually reinforcing these wars and these negative things with your energy. And I teach the people
not to concentrate on the war.
I tell them that, instead you do a meditation and you send blessings and love to this area, and we create a spiritual united force, and this will end this because you're not reinforcing it with your attention and your fears. And I teach them in the workshop how to feel the energy from the body, and I teach them all the different locations on the body where these energy points are, where the energy enters from the different dimensions.
Is it the same like the chakras?
Yeah, and then I teach them also what the different dimensions, what effect this energy has on their function as a human being.
But this is knowledge that is pretty old on Earth too.
Yeah,
about the
actually
chakras.
it's older than the Earth, yeah.
So you are not the first who gave it to us.
No, but what I do is I give a simple explanation that's not complicated, and because I try to keep everything in a simple, explanation where that it's understandable, and it also relates to you and your functions as a human being so that you understand it. It's not something so strange that you have no clue what I'm talking about, you know.
Right. And you're not using technology from Venus to impress people, you know, or say, here's the proof that I'm from Venus or something. You don't...
No, I think that this is something that's totally unnecessary, because it's kind of sensationalism, which I get enough of that already. The sensational aspect is not as important as the information and the truth for the individual, for their own individual conviction.
But that means people still have to believe in what you say. They can say, oh, she's...
No, I want to teach them to believe in themselves,
yeah.
you know.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if they believe in me or not, you know.
Right. Uh-huh.
My knowledge speaks for itself, you know.
I think it does, yes. But some people don't want to believe.
But I have a faster heartbeat, you know. I carry my children a lot longer. I manufacture my own calcium. I'm now on my third set of teeth.
Third set of teeth.
I have
Can
4.
Can we do that too?
Well, you know, you have a lot of abilities, but you've been convinced by your medical society and the media that this is damaging to your health, that's damaging to your health. You only live to be 65, then you're put out, you know, retired, you're not able to function anymore. And the people believe this, and this is how they become. And I don't believe this 100%, you know. I'm 50 years old, and I still enjoy myself as much as any 20-year-old, you know, and have as much energy, and I can drink and have a cigarette or do whatever I want to do and control it, and also know that it's not going to create this damage in my body.
Can you say something about cancer and AIDS, these diseases?
Well, some of them I think are created, by your governments.
Like AIDS?
Yeah, I think originally it was created to eliminate what they would call undesirable societies or in certain countries. And I think that it backfired because it got carried back to the source, you know, which is kind of a befitting kind of, what would you call, punishment. When they start to use their technology in societies to improve on what the Creator has created, which they do many times, it always is the destruction and the downfall of a civilization.
So genetic engineering is the same. They want to improve something, and that's perfect already.
Right, and they don't accept, they don't realize or see the perfections. They think these imperfections they look at, but I look at the imperfections as unique qualities that we have to appreciate, you know.
So diseases are just misconceptions or something? Cancer, what's
some
cancer?
Of them are created by the media, and they write books about the warnings about this causes cancer, that causes cancer, and of course if the people build this into their belief system, then they create this disease in their own bodies out of their fear.
So it's their thoughts that manifests.
If they really believe it, you know. And see, this is it. Whatever you believe and whatever you put into your mind, and you really accept it as truth, then it becomes a part of what you are. And if you really know within yourself that this is nonsense, I don't accept that that's dangerous for me, but I won't overindulge. I will just protect, you know, whatever, and I may enjoy myself, and I don't believe that this will create an illness. Of course, it'll create an illness if you overindulge and you damage yourself. But I think that it's a way of keeping the chemical companies and the doctors and so on functioning here.
It's about greed and money.
It all comes back down to the basic, yeah.
Right.
Because human beings used to live a lot longer, and they didn't have so many illnesses that they have now.
Shouldn't die at the age of 75 or something.
No, I don't think so. I hope not.
What we do have to do is change our thinking, our perception.
Yeah, I teach the people not just how to believe, but how to know certain things. And there's a difference in believing and knowing.
You talked about fear being a part of it, that we are getting...
The fear is the biggest tool they have in your societies for controlling. It's used in your churches, it's used in your schools, it's used in your families, and you even have a fear of death. It's fear, you know. It's the whole key to the controlling of what's happening. So, and if people can overcome the fear, you know, when you realize that you die, well, physical body dies, but the essence of you is just transition. It's a transition from one existence to another. And then you learn there what you can't perceive here, what you can't understand here.
But you have to come back to learn again. another
Actually,
incarnation? Or
you have a choice.
you have a choice.
Yeah.
But you probably choose yourself and you say, oh, I messed that up, I have to come back again, is that right?
Well, if you form attachments here, and then you have a fear of dying, and you feel that you didn't complete something, or maybe you messed up a relationship somewhere and you didn't have a chance to take care of it and take responsibility for it, then you feel this need to come back. So sometimes it's your own, you're drawn back by your lack of taking responsibility for your actions.
But you say there's something coming up and the close future that is changing, there's a transformation.
Started in 1993.
1993.
The old hidden temples were reactivated around the Earth. When they activated these are also gateways to the other dimensions. Then the spiritual hierarchy in the other dimensions started to send energy to the Earth. They instructed all of nature, including the birds and all the insects and everything, to increase their sounds and their functions here, because their sounds create also frequencies that are beneficial and healing for this planet. There was many spiritual groups that started doing meditations on a regular basis in different countries. And the whole process was done through spiritual sources. And of course the spaceships have located themselves at different points, and they're also sending energy to the planet. It's a cooperative effort of millions of people from different parts of the galaxy and different dimensions to return the Earth to its natural existence and the human beings. This also is creating a new chakra system in the human beings. It's synchronizing the two brain halves to function again with the intuition and awareness and knowledge of your former existences and of your true self. And you'll have once again the abilities to be intuitive and listen to yourself about whether to believe this person. In other words, you'll know that if this person is being deceiving or if this person's being honest. It'll come to you. It's just the natural abilities that you will have once again. And then the new generation will be born with all these genetics and this whole system intact. But we have an artificial support system from the other dimensions and in the physical universe with our ships and everything that are sending this energy to the Earth to help it go through a transformation, which means the energy, the frequency of the Earth is being changed to a higher vibratory rate. Then all of the technology and everything that exists here will quit functioning. Now, it's not going to be overnight. It's been going on since '93. It's a gradual process because we can't damage the human body. And there will be a collapse. You'll see it in the year 2000, actually, because they didn't program their computers properly, and they're going to have a lot of difficulties.
Technical stuff, yes.
But that's their problems.
That's their problem.
But it's a good exercise for human beings to learn that they can't really rely on this technology, because in the future it won't function.
A lot of concepts
the
are going to
political
crash.
systems, well, they're already shaky. They were built on corruption to begin with, and now the corruption is being exposed. This is going to end the political system. It's going to end out of its own unjust actions. And the human beings here are starting to be aware of it and to see it, and they're losing their faith already. That's going to fall apart. And of course, when the money stops flowing, and the people will find a way to survive on their own because they are the power. You might have these industries and these big companies that monopolize everything, but the human beings that work for them are the ones that create the idea that this place can function. If they all leave and take their energy away, the people that own these companies cannot function without them. And the human beings will realize this eventually. They don't need these industries. The industries need the human beings.
Right. So what's coming up is not the end of the world. It's a change, a transformation.
Yeah.
Things will crash, but
and the human beings will be able to function and survive because they have the information and the knowledge from the times, all these years that they've worked for these big industries. They got the knowledge of how to build houses and how to do everything that they need to survive. And they will join together in a cooperative effort, and you will have a new society. There will be a lot of people who will perish, because there will be a lot of suicides for the big bankers, the big industry people and all this, when they see their years of working for millions of dollars and now their money is not worth anything. But the human beings who will survive will be the ones who hardly had anything to begin with.
Do you believe that as electromagnetic waves we have on the Earth for our mobile phones and microwave ovens, that they are dangerous too, that they are keeping us from having the connection? Well,
of course they're damaging, but these won't function anymore either. See, the new technology will be introduced to you. It will be brought to you. As soon as the technology here quits functioning, when this transformation is complete, And of course there will be some destruction and panic during that time. And this is why I'm informing many people, and these people can inform other people. Then you have at least a large amount of people that won't panic and that can help the others to function during this transformation. We're setting up centers and locations where the people can come for safety, for information, for whatever they need. This is being supplied. On the internet you'll find transformation updates every month. You'll find it on the internet. You'll find all kinds of programs for meditation, for just everything. There's all kinds of networks set up for people you can contact for information. When it's complete, then the new technology will be brought and introduced to you so that you can continue to exist, but in a new way.
What's the new technology?
Oh, it will be magnetic energy, solar power, everything that works within nature.
It's not electronic.
The new energy,
it's
free energy, you know, the free energy
photonic.
devices.
What is it?
You'll have resonating magnetic energy. You'll have. We also are creating information about crystals and their power, which was used in ancient times. Healing techniques that you develop from your own self. See, there's many energy devices. There's like even the people who published my book have free energy books and videos that you can get, and it has a whole list of people who have created all these free energy devices all over the earth. Of course, they're not allowed to manufacture them because the energy industries here make sure that they won't allow it.
So the knowledge is here, but we can't use it yet. But the time is ahead that it will come.
There's a time when these people. Well, I have many lists of people who
have
are
free
waiting.
Energy
Who are
machines.
waiting to introduce their devices.
Great things to come up.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a lot better world. Of course, it'll be a difficult time during the transition, you know, because there will be a lot of panic of people who can't accept the transformation, who won't be able to go through it. Mostly because they're not informed and they don't know what's going on, and they might injure each other in their panic. But nonetheless, that's only their physical selves, you know, but their souls will be able to re-enter and adjust to the new world, you know. Just like before, it's not going to be anything different because you can't kill the soul, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Are Venusians helping us in this process? You said you are here, but there are different.
Oh yeah, the Venusians, the people from Sirius, the people. There's so many different galaxies that are cooperating in this effort. The Pleiadians, from the Pleiadian star system, from Sagittarius, from many. Some of them don't look like humans. Then, of course, the non-physical beings are also participating in this. And it's in every prophecy, in every country that you find, it's in the prophecies.
And you have this stories about UFOs and contacts with a small cray and abductions.
These are the negative beings. There are negative
that's real.
Beings that exist.
But it's not that important.
Well, the governments were doing deals with them for their technology, and they gave them the free will to abduct people in exchange for this.
So Roswell was real?
Yeah, and the governments made deals with these beings, and when we connected these spiritual temples that are hidden around the earth, we built a protective field around the earth to prevent this from happening anymore.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Omnec, is there